reason for their imprisonment is like a joke. It's terrifying that it's real life, and I went to I'll try to Google some images of the prison camps. You know, I like to put pictures in the videos when I can, and of course there's nothing. I was reminded that this is North Korea I'm talking about. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into this incredible story. Okay, so first I'm going to explain a little bit about the political prison camps, and the two that we're talking about today is camp number 14 and camp number 18, and I'm going to explain a little bit about each camp. So camp number 14, I'm probably going to get the name wrong on some of these, so forgive me. So camp number 14, it's officially called the Kechon Political Prison Camp, and it was established in 1959, and it's located in the center of the country, approximately 40 miles north of Yonggang in South Yongin Province. Like all prison camps in North Korea, Camp 14 is designed to segregate the general prison population, which are those considered enemy of the state and undeemable because they've committed political crimes, and to punish them for their crimes through unending hard labor. Those sent to the camp include officials perceived to have been performing poorly in their job, people who have criticized the regime, and anyone suspected of engaging in anti-government activities. However, some Camp 14 prisoners are victims of the regime's three-generation punishment, in which 3 generations of a prisoner's family are also sent to the camp and may die there without having committed a single crime themselves. Camp 14 is essentially one large total control zone, meaning all prisoners are serving life sentences. Economic activities that employ prisoners are slave laborers. Economic activities that employ prisoners as slave labor include mining, textiles, farming, and raising livestock. Induced starvation is common among prisoners who are driven to catch and eat rodents, frogs, and snakes. Camp 18 is the other camp that we're talking about, was administered by the Ministry of People's Security. Civilians from outside the camp are employed as administrators over various subsections of the facility. Defectors have reported the camp was approximately 28 square miles and could hold roughly 27 to 30,000 prisoners. The camp has reportedly been under construction since 2006, though it appears to continue to hold prisoners. Many Camp 18 detainees were relatives of prisoners at Camp 14. Prisoners were allowed to live together with family members, and in some instances to marry and have children. Detainees were required to work in coal mining, brick making, cement making, and glass factory and distillery. Large numbers of prisoners died due to malnutrition, disease, and work accidents. An administrator cut off by a supervisor as punishment for accidentally breaking a sewing machine. He witnessed adult prisoners and children beaten every day, and many prisoners died of starvation, illness, torture, and work accidents. He learned to survive by any means possible, including eating rats, frogs, and insects, and reporting fellow inmates for rewards. When Shin was 13 years old, he overheard his mother and brother planning an escape attempt. Shin had just finished eating watery corn porridge and was trying to sleep until he overheard that his brother had run from the cement factory. Shin's mother, Chang, was preparing rice, which is a symbol of wealth in North Korea, for the escape from Camp 14. Shin was jealous. His brother was getting rice. Shin's teacher was already in the gated village where he lived, and so Shin told the night guard along with another boy what his mom and his brother were planning, because from a young age he was always taught that informing the guards that somebody was attempting an escape or doing something they shouldn't be doing was a good thing. But the school night guard took full advantage of this, and he took full credit for discovering the plan, and rather than being rewarded, Shin was arrested, and the guards tortured him for days trying to figure out more information, more details, believing that he was actually a part of this grand plan to escape. So for this, his mom and his brother were executed, and he stated that at the time of their execution, in his teenage mind, he felt that they actually deserved their fate for breaking prison rules and also not including him in their escape plan, but later says that he regrets what he did. While working at a textile factory, Shin became friends with a 40-year-old political prisoner who was educated and traveled outside of North Korea. So his name was Park. Park had been to East Germany and China. Park said that he shook Kim Jong-il's hand. Park told him about the outside world and stories about food that Shin had not experienced before. He was excited about the idea of being able to eat as much food as he wanted to, which Shin considered to be the essence of freedom. He said, "I still think of freedom as roasted chicken." Shin decided to attempt to escape with Park. They formed a plan in which Shin would provide local information about the camp, while Park would use his knowledge once outside the camp to escape the country. On the 2nd of January 2005, the pair was assigned to work detail near the camp's electric fence on the top of a 1,200-foot mountain ridge to collect firewood. Noting the long interval between the guards' patrols, the two waited until the guards were out of sight. Then they made their attempt to escape. Park attempted to go through first, but was fatally electrocuted climbing the high-voltage fence. Shin managed to pass over the wire using Park's body as a shield to ground the current, but still suffered severe burns and permanent scars when his legs slipped onto the lowermost wire as he crawled over Park's body. After escaping, Shin broke into a nearby farmer's barn and found an old military uniform. Wearing the uniform, he was able to masquerade as a North Korean soldier at times. He survived by scrounging and stealing food. Shin was unfamiliar with money was a free man and worked for liberty in North Korea, otherwise known as Link, which is a non-profit organization that raises awareness of human rights issues in North Korea and provides aid to North Korean refugees. Shin moved back to South Korea to campaign for the eradication of the North Korean prison camps, and he is also married with a son, I believe. This story is absolutely incredible and shocking and terribly sad. Speaking specifically on the 3-generation rule, so one of the things that I just do not get, and to some level I guess I'm not meant to, it's just I can't imagine being in prison based on something that my grandparent did, you know, or my great-grandparent did, and I didn't do anything. It's just insane. One of the bigger things I thought about was what his mental health has to be like after escaping such a place, not only because he never knew life outside of this prison camp, he was born in it, and to live in a place where putting other people in trouble gives you a reward. What does that do in your mind where you did that not only to people that you weren't related to, but to your own mom and brother? And not to say that he was bad for doing it, because that's what he was taught to do. What was his mental health like coming into the outside world, outside of North Korea, and then also going to Southern California and, you know, South Korea, just in such a different environment? How do you assimilate into society, you know? Also, while telling his story, it was later revealed that some parts of the story he exaggerated a little bit. I'm not exactly sure which parts, but the person who helped him with his biography said that this thing of lying or fabricating or something may just be an effect of what he went through while he was at that camp, not being in a place where you feel safe to really tell the truth, and also while he was out speaking out against this prison camp. The officials there, basically they said that what he was saying wasn't true. So he saw a video of his father speaking to him, which shocked him because he thought that his father was not alive anymore. And basically the father was saying that everything he said or claimed was not true. And Shin took this as a message from the officials in that prison camp, warning him or threatening him with his father's life, saying, "We have your dad. If you continue this, he won't be alive anymore, or we'll make it very, very miserable for him." So it kind of made him pull back a little bit. And you gotta think, I wonder if there's any survivor's guilt. I mean, he fought to get out, he planned to get out, he didn't want to be there anymore, but what about the people that he left? And I wonder how the relationships, you know, the relationship dynamics are formed. They're not just with him, but with other people. It does seem kind of like a dog-eat-dog world where everybody's out for themselves. It's insane that people are literally living that life right now in these horrible prison camps. Anyways, I will probably do a couple more stories on this because I've come across a couple interesting stories about even some women who have managed to escape North Korea and are telling the secrets of what really happens there. I find it super interesting. Anyways, thank you so much for